Hello my fellow mayors, and welcome once again to perafilozof City Skylines videos. In this one I'll be continuing to build up the city in which I plan to reach 1 million population on the hard mode. But before I start playing around here, I will need to show you what has changed, because a lot has changed. I have played around in the city for probably 5 hours. The first thing that I did was to unlock the Eden project. Once I built it, I increased the land value to over 100 in the entire city. What this then led to is the increase of the level of the residential buildings of all of them up to level 5, commercial all of them, almost all of them 99% to level 3, and pretty much all the offices to level 2. It also helped to increase the industrial level almost everything to level 3. What this then did is to require a lot more goods to satisfy all the new commercials at level 3. It also required a lot more workers, and I was starting to have around 15 to 20,000 differential between the people employed and the jobs available. At that point I actually turned on a mod called Fill All the Houses. What this mod does is that it fills the homes to their actual maximum capacity, or at least tries to get close to it. Why? Well, the problem was that when you are playing the default game, it fills the homes at about 80 to 80, 85% of the Sims that can live in there. So you end up with, for example, at level 5, 20 out of 26 or 21 out of 26. This was not good enough considering how many more jobs I needed. And you can see a lot more traffic is now here also because of a lot more goods that are being imported or exported. Now I am still exporting a lot because I did turn on the industrial space planning in some of my areas. I have turned it off now in some again, but I still seem to have more goods than I even need at the moment, although I continuously of course have the demand for more commercial. And then what I realized was that now that I have more workers, as by increasing the by using the mod I have increased the population something from 220,000 to 280,000 at one point. So at that point I realized that I needed a lot more jobs, and I saw that if you look at an office at level 2 as a 4x4 building, it takes 17 workers, has 17 open jobs. But if you look at a commercial building at level 3 at 4x4 space that it takes up, it requires 20 workers. And here you can see that the 3x4 building requires 15 workers, while the office building at 3x4 requires 13 workers. So the commercial buildings were actually employing more per square. Also, they were increasing my taxes a lot more because of the policy that you can set the big business benefactor. So I noticed that I had around 17,000 income from the offices, while I had over 220,000 income on the commercial. Now I've reduced the office income by 10,000, but look how much I've increased the commercial income by 50,000. Although this hasn't yet settled, because like you saw in some of my previous videos, once you get into high numbers, the game has a problem redoing the income and expenses and making it balanced once again. So I had at one point plus 100,000 income per hour per week, and you can see I earned 15 million in these 5 or 6 hours of gameplay. Now an additional thing that I've done was to place 3 of the cemeteries at different points around the city, and I've almost filled up 5,200 out of 9,000. Why I'm doing this is to unlock the Plaza of the Dead, which requires 3 filled cemeteries. Once I do that, I'll be able to build the monument, which is the fusion power plant. Once of course I build all the unique buildings required, and then instead of paying for the power currently for about 2.5 gigawatts, I'm paying 22,500. I'll be paying only 10,000 for pretty much unlimited power, considering that you get 16,000 megawatts out of this building. So that's my plan for the future. Now while doing this, I've also you see continuously have the demand for commercial, no matter how many of these zones I turn from the offices into high density commercial. So I really don't have to worry about ending up with not enough commercial demand to cover all the extra zones that I've zoned as commercial. And like I said, they employ more Sims per square, they also get you more taxes per square, they do require more goods, which can be offset with the use of the industrial space planning on the industry, and with the industry being almost everywhere to level 3, they even produce more by just being at a higher level. And so everything comes together to give me a higher population. Now you see I'm at 268,000 while I'm losing some of the population. I had at one point increased the tax from 9 to 10%, plus the tax increase from the policies on the districts, which give with the raised they give 2% more, so the high density residential are paying 12, and by increasing this to 10, they are paying 11 at the moment, but by increasing this to 10 I ended up with them paying 12, which seemed to have reduced the amount of sims that would move in, so I dropped from 280,000 down to 268,000. Also, I do have an unemployment rate, and that increases the demand for industry and offices, because I'm destroying offices, of course. This will also be increasing, and I do have an export at the moment, so I don't really have to build that much more. I did use this area here for a new industrial area, and they're pretty much at level 2, some of them are at level 3. I could get more, I think I just need to drop a clinic. So by doing this, I've managed to increase the population, increase the income substantially. You can see here that my income is now over 470,000. It was 550,000, but the game is recalculating everything at the moment. And I got the higher population while the city stayed at the same size. So I got around 50,000 more sims by still remaining at the same size of the city by using that mod. And it also provided me with the opportunity to have more commercial buildings instead of the offices, which increases the tax and increases how many people I can employ per square. So by employing that mod, I did kind of break my rule of not using any mods that would influence the gameplay, but in order to get to 1 million population, I've noticed that I had to make some adjustments. So that mod is now going to be officially part of this Let's Play. It did help me increase the population. Then the Monument Eden project increased the level of everything, so I could even fit more people into buildings. As you know, when they go from level to level, they can move in more sims per building. So that was also the benefit of the Eden project, plus the increase in the land value everywhere. So that led to the commercial buildings having all gone to level 3. That increased the need for goods. The need for goods increased the demand for industry. The demand for industry increased the demand for sims, and I could move in more sims. So everything is pretty much balanced. I did spend probably 2 hours tinkering and then 3 hours balancing everything, and I think I've kind of reached a good balance. I'm trying to keep the exports below 1000. Sometimes they go up, sometimes they go down, depends on the extra commercial buildings I zone instead of the offices. And at the moment I'm working on this to switch the offices for the commercial buildings. As I said, this increases the tax revenue, it increases how many sims I can employ per square, so it's all good. And I'm working on getting 3 cemeteries filled at 9,000 dead. I'm now at 5,300, and once I do that, I will be able to unlock the Plaza of the Dead, which will then allow me to build, once I build all the prerequisite unique buildings, to build a fusion power plant, which would reduce how much I'm spending on power by half. So that is what I'm working on at the moment. Once I finish all those changes, I'm going to buy these 2 areas here, play around a little bit with the roads and the railway, and then build another city over here, part of the city here. It's probably gonna go a mirror image of this one. It's just gonna go like this all the way to here, and then next to the lake here, which I think allows me to go perfectly here. So it's gonna be one huge addition to the city, but I will of course make it half by half, considering that I'm going to be going with the highways through the middle and the railway. I haven't yet decided, am I going to place 2 more cargo terminals here? I think that would actually not be beneficial. I might try and figuring out a way to place, for example, 1 in here at 1/4 away from here, and 1 here 3/4 away, like one of my subscribers suggested. I'll see how that would turn out. So that's the plan. That's what happened in the last few hours. I think you are gonna be happy with this, and you can tell me in the comment section. Oh right, before I go away, one thing that I've noticed, check out the speed of the clock here. If I go to speed 3, I'm going to count it. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi. So that was 8 seconds for it to do 1 day. But let me just save this. I'm still using save test, but I think soon I will use it for real. I mean, save it over my Bedrock save. What I wanted to show you is how fast speed 3 is actually on a regular save. So on regular save, on save that doesn't have a city this big on it. So check it out over here. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. That was 3 seconds. That was like 300% faster. So as you can see, the bigger the city, the slower the clock. So that is another reason why my Let's Play has been taking more and more time and longer to get more population. I am pretty sure this is down to the engine, and no matter how much powerful a computer you have, it's not gonna help that much. So that will be all for this video. Thank you all for watching, and please stay tuned for more.